because I guess you were a kid when our films came
I
out.
was, yeah.
You're right. So we sort of made them for you, and it was.
That's
it was
right.
an odd
They were made for
experience
us
to make
itty
those
bitty
movies.
boys. It's,
You know,
I'm
like
glad
Moses
he's saying
says,
that.
like when you step into this world, it's a big deal. It's like scary, and then those films were critically not liked very much, or they weren't written very nicely about, by the critics. But what we didn't hear at the time was people your age, your generation. We now meet those people now who really love our films,
Yeah,
But
that's
it's taken
right.
us it's taken us 15 years to hear that, and it's so nice. It's really nice. It's changed my outlook on my relationship with Star Wars. It's different because of that, I think.
So sweet.
Because we put our heart and soul into them, and they were difficult to make because they were all the second one, the third one. There was so much green screen and blue screen because George was pushing into this new realm that he had designed. That he was responsible for ILM, and he wanted to max out that technology, but that meant for us that we were very much on blue screens and green screens, and it was hard work. And to do that and be passionate about it, and then for the films not to be very well received was really tough. So it's really lovely to have this new relationship with them now, and I'm glad that and watching them again. I hadn't seen them since they came out. What in preparation for this show, to watch them again was really cool. I like them, I like them. Our episode 3 is really good. It's a really good movie. And
It's a phenomenal film.
yeah.
Non-stop action.
Yeah.
That's the high ground.
I had the high ground. Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, maybe.
On the picture?
On the picture?
I'm still looking at it. He's checking on it too.
Yeah. But I would like $1 for every time someone's told me I had the high ground.
It's so refreshing to hear Ewan McGregor say this, to give us a look behind the scenes from producing these prequels. It drives me nuts whenever people criticize the acting of these movies from any of the cast. Like, yes, it is the actor's job to act, to make unbelievable circumstances believable, whether it's on a stage or on a green screen set. But that was like not really done a whole lot up until that point. Now every movie has like green screens in the background. Actors are kind of used to it. But I think all things considered, that cast did a pretty great job.
I agree.
Some of the dialogue was a little goofy in terms of the way it was written.
Star Wars, though. Like, there's goofy dialogue in every Star Wars movie. I challenge you to find one, even Rogue One, which I love, that has that weird scene with Vader and Mendelsohn where Mendelsohn starts like begging or something like that, and he has a couple weird lines in that scene. I wish I could remember that.
Yeah,
to prove my point, but
I don't know what it is about the internet age where suddenly so many people are experts on writing dialogue in screenplays. Like, I want to ask every single one of these people who criticize like the writing of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the writing of James Cameron movies whenever they rewatch Avatar and they make fun of Avatar. It's like, okay, point to me an example of good dialogue. I just want to know what you think
tell
is
me
good
what,
dialogue.
or show me an example of you doing good dialogue. Like,
well, for sure, you could say that for anybody.
I would say, but yeah, my number one cranky friend review, like people who are just unpleasable with like tentpole movies. It always is, oh, the script was brutal, and you're like, okay,
you don't know how movies are made.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't know how movies are made. I was in a conversation yesterday where this is the case, and it's like, okay, I'm talking to someone who has never worked on the set of a film, doesn't understand how major motion pictures are created, how they're storyboarded out, how much the director has to say on it, how much the producer has to say on it, how much the studio has to say on it. So it's a drag. It always feels like the screenwriter gets dragged. And it's because people don't know how movies are made. So they'll say, oh, the writing's bad. The writing was just so bad. It's like, okay, you do not understand what good writing is. And people will like say like, oh, the dialogue was just so campy. It's like Hollywood film as a genre has campy, unnaturalistic dialogue because it's meant to be plot forward dialogue where you're trying to condense so much about revealing a character in one sentence that it has to be a little cliche and goofy. But that's the fun of it. Like you're not meant to be embedded in a conversation like you're watching a documentary.
Right.
It's like you're watching people who are representing things.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. That being said, the writing on this Wookieeleaks is a little weak.
It's pretty bad. I mean, who wrote this script? Who just starts their Monday mornings with a rant, following the most wholesome, sweetest, non-bitter speech here by Ewan McGregor?
Yeah.
Didn't throw any shade at anyone. He even said like, oh, you know, they just weren't well received, and he kind of said it with a smile. And here we are saying like, you assholes!
If you had received it better, he wouldn't have been so sad, and maybe would have watched it once in 2007.
Welcome back to New Rockstars, everyone. Obi-Wan Kenobi will end with one of these heroes having the high ground. But could we be seeing cameos from two of Kenobi's Clone Wars cohorts that haven't yet been considered by us? Perhaps Commander Cody or Cad Bane? Will our favorite gunslinger make us regret having given up our armor on Kenobi? Apologies if I'm having trouble vocalizing anything. My voice is a little froggy because this past weekend I did my first show with my new improv team here in San Francisco Bay Area. If you happen to come to that show, thank you so much. It was so sweet of you all to come support us like that. It was so much fun. But between that show and between the bar we went to afterwards that was playing death metal, I shouted the entire night.
Yes.
And I lost my voice a little bit by the end of the night.
Erik, you're not alone because your co-host and partner in crime has also lost his voice after a weekend of shouting. So we are going to sound like I was at a 5-year-old's birthday party telling people to get away from the pond. So that's why I have no voice, but we'll get through it.
I think we need Tommy at every party telling people to get away from the pond.
Even if there's no pond. He's just staring at the basketball hoop. Get away from that pond.
It's just Pond Man. Okay, well, folks, we are less than 2 weeks away from Obi-Wan Kenobi's premiere on Disney+. And as we close in on these final days and look ahead to these first 2 episodes, some new evidence actually has us wondering if that Duros bounty hunter, Cad Bane, may cross paths with Obi-Wan Kenobi on Daiyu. And we haven't really talked about Commander Cody, but Commander Cody, the clone trooper that Kenobi was closest with, if Tamora Morrison is going to come back and play any cameo on the show, wouldn't it make the most sense, at least for the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi, to have to come face to face again with Commander Cody, or at least Commander Cody to consult with the Inquisitors on, you know, why he failed to gun down Obi-Wan Kenobi and reported him as dead when he was not, in fact, dead. Well, there's a lot we can talk about here. First, we want to say our merch partners over at Epic Hero Shop have released a whole multiverse of merch inspired by Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, including some new shirt designs and even some Gargantos stickers. And there's still time to grab the limited edition Shattered Madness shirt number 15 in our latest Obsession series. Once it's gone for good. So be sure to grab one today at newrockstarsmerch.com.
Yes.
All right, Tommy, what are we talking in the world of stars?
Well, we
this week?
teased it, we pleased it, and now it's time to appease it. Could Cad Bane or Commander Cody appear on Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yes. Yes. The answer is always yes. Yeah. Everybody can always appear in everything.
That's right.
It's totally possible. After Luke showed up in Mandalorian Season 2, that those floodgates have been opened.
Yes.
In this case, the Cad Bane speculation really comes from some recent photos shared by Total Film showing Obi-Wan on the new planet of Daiyu. And in the crowd behind him is a silhouette with a brimmed hat. Yes. And if you squint enough, it looks like it really could be Cad Bane. Cad Bane is, of course, alive at this point in Star Wars history. Just to kind of remind you of the timeline, Obi-Wan Kenobi is taking place, 8 or 9 years after the Bad Batch, which was chronologically when we last would have seen Cad Bane when he fought Fennec Shand to try to get Omega back to the Kaminoans. And he failed, and he was so mad. That whole episode, so much fun just to watch those two bounty hunters go toe to toe. It really could have gone either way, because they're pretty evenly matched, I would say. Now, many of us felt that after his memorable introduction to the Book of Boba Fett, such amazing prosthetics, mask construction, the voice work for the character was awesome. Be pretty surprising for Lucasfilm to go to all that effort just to only use the character for those few episodes of the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I mean, many of us feel the same way about Black Chrysanthemum, another character who was also active and alive at this point in Star Wars history.
I need more Black Chrysanthemum in my life. Definitely.
I think we need both of them.
Yeah.
I want to see how both of them intersect with Obi-Wan Kenobi, to be honest with you. And of course, Obi-Wan has a long history with Cad Bane from the Clone Wars episodes, a bounty hunter that he used in many different ways in various plots. When Obi-Wan actually infiltrated, he kind of face morphed himself, his identity to infiltrate a group of bandits. You know, it was just fun to have them talk again.
Yes.
Now, especially now that we hear that the Inquisitors are activating all bounty hunters, all scoundrels across the galaxy.
They got to be on it. Come on.
Right. At least we got to have like a John Wick, you know, everybody getting their notifications montage in on Cad Bane's comm. It's like, oh, I know that mugshot. All right, let's do this.
Good. No.
Plug in the cheek tubes.
Yeah.
Here we
go. Honey, where are my cheek tubes? Honey, where's my hat? Cad.
I'm the best cheek tube you're ever going to get.
In my mind, Cad Bane's wife has a deeper voice than him. She's like, your cheek tubes
for sure.
are where they always are, up your ass.
She wears the rocket boots in that relationship,
right.
I think. Now, one thing that's always like amused me about the cheek tubes, they are there to bypass a Jedi from force choking him to keep his trachea from being his only supply of oxygen. Could not the force choke also include
the tubes?
The tubes. just widen your grasp a little bit. Also get the tubes, crush it with the neck. No,
you can only do this.
Just a little pinch. You can only get a pinch. The force only gives you a pinch. Fair enough.
Yep.
Fair. I will take it. I have taken far wilder rationale to fill my plot holes in the past, so I'm okay with that. But let's talk about Tamora Morrison, our buddy Tim, possibly showing up on the season. He could play any of the clone troopers, of course. We've talked about Rex before, but Obi-Wan was closest to the clone trooper Commander Cody, the one, of course, who fired upon him on Utapau. Now, you gotta imagine the scenario here. They probably would not come face to face again, because if they do, one of them's gonna die.
Right.
You know, Kenobi would have to kill Cody, and that would suck to have to watch that. I don't want to watch that at all. That may happen though. I just don't see Kenobi having to go to that length. That'd be like a really weird character beat for him.
Yeah.
But sadly, I could imagine a scenario where the Inquisitors bring in Commander Cody.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, you could say all the clone troopers have been killed off, right? That seemed to be Tarkin's initiative in the Bad Batch. They wanted to be done with the clone troopers, Camino, boom, boom, boom. But Cody and Rex, obviously. Rex is still alive. We know we see him in Rebels, but Cody could be someone very important to this whole investigation, could be a consultant.
Yeah.
And you can imagine the Inquisitors dragging him before him, Vader dragging him before and said, Commander Cody, you were assigned to Obi-Wan Kenobi. You reported him dead.
You're right.
He's alive. Can you explain yourself?
Right.
And then poor Cody,
gone. I could see him being killed by Vader or the Inquisitors, like getting the sufficient answer they want out of him and then being like, thank you. Like, you know.
Right.
Definitely.
Like that could be something that they really do to break our hearts about the Inquisitors from the get-go.
I feel like they have to do a couple of those, maybe not necessarily Commander Cody, but they're going to have to do a couple of those scenes where you're like, watch the Inquisitors kill a Jedi or something, and it's like, just to establish their brutality.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the that whole speech that the Grand Inquisitor gives that I'm obsessed with, the Jedi itch speech, right?
Yeah.
Like that could be something that he says before executing Commander Cody. And granted, you know, it would suck to see Tamora Morrison play any character who dies, but he does play like hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, I mean, they do need to kind of cut down his workload a bit. So he's like, please kill one character off per show.
Yeah. I think it'd be more exciting to see Tamora Morrison play Commander Cody instead of Rex, because Rex has more of the relationship with Ahsoka.
Right.
I want to see Rex show up in Ahsoka.
I agree.
But in this case, I kind of want to see Commander Cody.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun. Between these two, Cad Bane and Cody, who do you think is more likelier to cameo?
I mean, I just think the specific mention of all the bounty hunters being called in means Cad Bane's showing up. I think they created the live action version of him, or at least the, television version of him that's not a cartoon. They put all that work into it. It was a huge success in terms of response. It would be a waste to not have him.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is a guy who just needs to show up in everything.
Yep.
Like I want to see him in Andor as well. You know,
Absolutely.
Like, if he is technically alive at this point in history, just have him walk around in the background. You don't need to have him do too much. You can just have him like get an alert and just be like, all right. And we don't need to see him in action. I just like being reminded that he's alive and busy.
Yeah. Just
he's
show him
work.
Show him brushing his teeth. Just show him he's getting ready for work. Pour a glass of OJ.
Or just really like being an excellent husband to his wife. Like satisfying her.
He's just
as much as she deserves to be
absolutely.
Satisfied.
It's just like one of those like rom-com things where like she just pulls the sheets down and there's Cad Bane just buried in her waist. Wookieeleaks. We don't have voices, but we have high libidos.
That's what the cheek tubes are there for, my friend. He doesn't need to come up for air.
He needs an extra oxygen source because that mouth is working.
It's occupied.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh boy.
We have to cut to commercial here. In this case, our commercial or ad spot, our sponsor this episode, is just really more of this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Which you can watch Tommy every weekday on the Breakroom. You got to check this out if you haven't already. It's our daily new live stream series shot from our actual Breakroom at the New Rockstars HQ. Every weekday, we talk about the latest nerd news. They break down videos I have made and react to me.
Oh, yeah.
And they interact with everyone in the chat. It's awesome. There's a whole mandatory fun segment that's always a delight.
Yes.
So this is where you can see Tommy, but you can also see people like Zach Huddleston and Jess Clemens,
heard of
Brandon Barrick.
Oh yeah,
plenty of other people who are
and occasionally Erik Voss when he's in town.
Sometimes, sometimes whenever I'm around,
we'll take him when we can get him. Yes.
So be sure to check out the Breakroom Live right here on the New Rockstars YouTube channel every weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. So, and that's not too bad for you guys over in the UK. I think what that would be
that's
11,
like
11 or 2300, however you do.
2300 hours, right before I go down for my nappy nap. They are gonna hate that.
All right, Tommy. There's an interesting quote that came out of an interview with Multiverse of Madness screenwriter Michael Waldron, who is working on a new Star Wars screenplay. He told Variety, quote, "It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying having the freedom on that to do something that is not necessarily a sequel or anything. Maybe has a little bit less of a, it just doesn't have a bunch of TV shows and movies that you're servicing on top of it, the way I did with Doctor Strange. So it's nice. It feels like a different exercise." So what do we think Mike Waldron is working on? What is this Star Wars movie that is completely separate from everything?
I'm of two minds of what I would like to see from this. I either want him to be working on something that is so far back in the past that there is like maybe some books that are legacy or legends canon, not main canon, or I'd like to see him work on a film about when they sent the beacon out to the Force-sensitive children in The Last Jedi, you know, and the kid moves the broom with his hand.
Broom Kid,
and then whoever else, you know, I made possibly a almost maybe like a Goonies-like adventure with those kids or something.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah.
I think it really comes down to the question of like, what makes a Star War a Star War? Right? Like, is it one of the war? Because we know a lot of the wars that happen in Star Wars history. If you're going back, now if you're going forward, no one really knows what happens after, you know, the Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
If you're going in the past, like we know there were Jedi Mandalorian wars. We know there were Jedi Sith wars.
Oh, I mean, he could make like a war movie.
Yeah, if he's going to do a war movie is one thing. Or is the story of Star Wars the story of the Force and the way it occupies certain individuals over time? And if that's the case, yeah, then can we look at other Force-sensitive kids? We can look into the sorcery, the witchcraft of the Force. To me, I think with what Waldron's strengths are, that is kind of the story I want to see from him.
Yeah,
is the exploit, because you know, again, we've come back to defending these screenwriters.
Yeah,
because they with their high paid salaries, they need us to defend them. Because who would?
Who watches?
Who won't?
Who screenwrites the screenwriters?
I think one of the cool things about Multiverse of Madness is like the way it explored witchcraft in the MCU, and the way it talked about things like dream walking and the sands of Nisanti with like this weird Danny Elfman rock music.
I love the guitar stingers opening. Every time they would get like real witchy, it'd be like meow.
Yeah,
that's
I think the guy has a real talent.
That I did that noise.
she needs the breathing tube. I think Waldron could do a new take on the way the Force works as witchcraft, as a kind of a sorcery or wizardry, and just kind of the older days of the Jedi to show the more High Republic era of the Jedi.
Yes, the highfalutin, classy Jedi, back before it got all trashed. You know, before Danny DeVito got in and mussed it all up. I assume Danny DeVito's a Jedi. I don't know. Maybe not.
I think he is.
He's got it, right?
I mean, the guy.
He can do it.
Has skills. Yeah. I think that's what I want from like. There's some upcoming Star Wars titles I'm excited for, obviously, that intersect with everything we're seeing. But whenever we're starting fresh, like let's just like go way back hundreds of years, or way forward hundreds of years, and show us like a conflict, or like either a war or just something that delves into the mysticism of it. Maybe back before, because now we have terms like midichlorians. It'd be great if like we go to the era of Star Wars before things like midichlorians were even codified within the universe, before they knew it as a science or any kind of scientific term. It was just something that was pure magic. We will leave it there for this episode of Wookieeleaks.
All right.
We want to thank you all so much for joining us. Again, check out Tommy later today on the break room. It'll be an exciting episode, I'm sure. You can follow me at EA Voss, follow Tommy at Tommy Bechtold, follow New Rockstars, subscribe to Wookieeleaks wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Goodbye.